You've planned for small groups, but now what? How to effectively plan for small group instruction. In today's session, we'll examine sample resources and activities for independent work and discuss ideas for teacher-led small group activities. Our time is often limited for small groups, so it's important that we use this time to plan focused and targeted instruction and interventions for students. Before we begin, we need to distinguish between small group instruction and cooperative grouping. In small group instruction, each group is created based on students' achievement levels, and each group is working on differentiated activities to increase their understanding of a skill on which we're focused. Cooperative groups are used when the entire class is working on the same activity, but are working in small groups. In middle school, small grouping may be difficult due to the constraints of teaching 2 Eureka lessons in one class period. However, if planned well, there are opportunities for small grouping. Flex and assessment days, according to the pacing guide, could be used for small group rotations. With experience, many teachers realize that a whole group setting is not always the way to meet the needs of our students. Some students catch on very quickly, and some students have no clue what's going on. Small group instruction can organically happen in a classroom. After a whole group experience and a formative assessment, the class is divided into groups. The groups should be used for enrichment, guidance, and reteaching. Of course, this can't happen overnight. We have to teach our students what small group time is going to look like and sound like. We also have to teach students what to do while they're working independently. We have to be as explicit as possible with instructions before sending students off to work on their own. One important thing to remember is to keep the groups fluid. We need to use small groups to give our students what they need and to keep flexibility alive. Small group interactions make it possible to take careful note of students' learning behaviors, strengths, and academic gaps. In order to increase student proficiency, interventions in small group instruction are essential, and these interventions must be data-driven. There are 3 types of interventions teachers can use to meet the needs of students and provide differentiated learning opportunities. These 3 types are lesson skill-based, standard-based, and diagnostic or interim-based. Now that we've talked a little bit about the why, let's talk about the how. There are many ways to identify students and split them into groups. One way is to split them according to their achievement level based on standards. You can do this based on student results from an exit ticket, a quiz, or an interim assessment. Another way is to identify the student's performance errors and misconceptions on a particular assignment. By analyzing this assignment, you can group the students according to those who need reteaching, the ones that would be working with you, or the ones who just need a little bit more guidance, and then the ones, of course, that need some reinforcement, who can do some independent work just to reinforce that skill. Let's look at a possible scenario. The standards listed here are aligned to the 6th grade fall interim. These standards were the ones on which the district as a whole scored lowest. The student scores on these standards could be used to divide the students into groups. One group, the ones who scored the lowest, would be in the reteaching group, where the teacher would reteach the skill. The rest of the students would be divided according to their performance, and each group would be given a differentiated activity meant to remediate or accelerate their learning on the standard. Because we know that some students will need additional support to support unfinished learning, practice concepts, and provide enrichment. It's important that we make plans for small groups ahead of time. To ensure that we make the most of our time for small group activities, it's important that we don't fall prey to the common missteps outlined in this list. Achieve the Core has outlined a list of common missteps teachers often make when providing targeted math support and identified recommendations. While each of these are important, I want to bring your attention to the three highlighted items. Read the common misstep highlighted in yellow as the primary area of focus for targeted math support. You should also pay close attention to the two items highlighted in blue. Using the three-step approach to address gaps in learning, understand, diagnose, take action, we can plan effectively for targeted small group activities. When planning for independent workstations, you might consider some of these popular systems for determining what activities students will engage in. One popular system is the rotation system. This gives students a designated amount of time to complete each center or station before moving on to the next. You determine how long the students engage in each activity based on the amount of time you have during the day or the week. Another system is the self-selected system. In this system, students are given a contract, a planning sheet, or some other type of accountability form to help them record completed activities and keep track of their work. Math menus and choice boards are examples of this kind of system. One example of an independent workstation is a math menu. A math menu is made up of two parts. The first part, the must-do part, are the required tasks or activities. These should be tasks or activities that can be done without the assistance of the teacher. They can be partner or group tasks, and you can choose tasks that reinforce recent skills or concepts. They can be review tasks or activities, but of course they should be meaningful and not just busy work. Once they've done the must-do items, students then can make choices from the dessert menu. These are optional tasks or activities that can be done with a partner or in a group, and they reinforce recent skills or concepts. They can be review tasks or activities. Of course, they should be meaningful, and they can be self-checking or simply graded through a recording sheet. Another idea for an independent workstation is a choice board in a tic-tac-toe version. This gives students activities that they can choose in any order they would like to complete tic-tac-toe on their board. One way of keeping students accountable for their work is to use a station recording sheet. This sheet would be picked up and students' work would be analyzed by the teacher. When planning for teacher-led groups, there are several options. In addition to reteaching a Eureka math lesson or using some of the resources on the district scope and sequence documents, you can also use the Zern small group lessons for teacher-led groups. Here is a snapshot of the suggested lessons designed to provide foundational guidance and interventions for students who need additional support to access grade level content for Grade 4, Module 5, Topic A. The teacher could use the small group lesson for the teacher-led group and the digital lessons for independent work. Another option for teacher-led groups is the Louisiana Department of Education Accelerate resource for intervention activities. These tutoring lessons are designed specifically to provide students with just-in-time support to help them with access to grade level content. The snapshot shows the suggested lessons and activities to support students needing additional support in order to be successful on grade level content for grade 6, module 4, topic A. Any questions about anything in this presentation or any math-related item can be directed to one of the email addresses below. As always, thank you for making EBR a great place to work and learn.